welcome to our presentation on how to manage activities with 123 Sync 2013. This tutorial demonstrates the synchronization and management capabilities of 123 Sync 2013. Our focus is to synchronize calendar activities between cloud devices and ACT. So let's look at our configuration of 123 Sync. We have ACT as our database, and then we use 123 Sync to sync with the cloud. And the cloud then, through different users, syncs with their devices. As far as clouds that we support is Exchange servers and Office 365, Hotmail, Outlook, Gmail, iCloud, anything that connects with Outlook or Exchange, it is supported by our 123 Sync. The devices that we've synchronized with, the iPad, iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, BlackBerry. One of the things we've seen is that these devices all follow a certain protocol which we then bring it together and synchronize with ACT. So the actions that we focus on is on adding activities. You add it into ACT, it should add onto your device, and vice versa. The same thing with deletions. If you delete an activity in your device or in ACT, it will delete. And any modifications are also two-way synchronized between the devices and ACT through 123 Sync. In addition, we have added what we call specialized activity actions. And these actions are if you do something on the device and then it comes back to ACT. On these cases, you can look at an activity on your device and then add a note to that contact in ACT. As well as you can clear an activity on the device, and that activity then will be cleared and a history created in ACT through 123 Sync. So what are the advantages of using 123 Sync for activity management? First is zero duplicates. We just don't create duplicates, and we have special mechanisms that prevent duplicate creation using our software. Second, we provide additional information on activities. If you can see here, we provide the activity type, which is in our case would be meeting. We also add the participants on that activity into the subject line with the company, and then the phone number, and then what are the activities regarding. Also, you can customize the creation of activity related data into the body text. As we can see here, we have the contact details on the activity related data. So as we know, also we are 123 Sync is a server-based solution. There's one point of failure and only one point of management. So you can set it up in one place, and then it will service everybody that you are syncing to in ACT. We also do proper sync of multi-user activities where you have multiple devices syncing with the cloud, and they sync to 123 Sync, which then makes its way into ACT. We also have what we call typed activity synchronization management. And what we do is you can take activity types in ACT and then deposit them either on the calendar or in the tasks folder. So these will come up on your iPhone under the calendar or under the tasks, and fully manageable from those devices. Activity contact matching is another powerful feature provided by 123 Sync, where you schedule an activity using iPhone or iPad or a Windows Phone or BlackBerry with a particular individual or a particular contact. In this case is John. So we schedule a meeting with John, it will pop up in ACT that the meeting is with John and not with my record. Finally, the implementation of clear and erase mechanism. ACT has two types of deletions. One of them is clear and the other one is erase, and we support that. And also you can be on your iPhone or smartphone and then schedule a typed activity right from your phone. you don't want everything to be a meeting. So if you want to, in our case here, you want to schedule a dinner, you schedule a dinner and then schedule it with John, and that will make it back into act as dinner with John, not a meeting or a to do with John, as dinner. So we provide a mechanism of typed matching to the particular events in act or activities in act that become very useful on the long term. Before we continue, there are a couple of concepts that we would like to cover so we have a better understanding of the terms that we're using. The first one is what is a typed activity, and let's just show that. So let's get into ACT and see what activities or what activity types does ACT provide. If you go to schedule, manage activity types, you'll see that the four default activities that ACT provides is appointments, calls, meetings, and to-dos. You can then add any number of activities that are particular to a type of behavior or something that you want to do or something you want to keep track for. In our case, we added birthday, breakfast, call wife, dinner, a doctor, drinks, exercise. So what we've done is taken the activities database in ACT and expanded it into a far more finer distribution and definition of activities so that we can use those for all types of scheduling. So if you go to 123Sync and you click on the user and then you click on the activities, you will see a list of all the activity types that we have. So these activity types, by default, we map them over to the calendar, but you can actually change the mapping of any activity either from the calendar or to the tasks. We just leave it at the tasks. So when 123 syncs between Exchange or the cloud and ACT, it takes all the activities and puts them into these two particular folders between calendar and tasks. Now that we've covered typed activities, we need to address the issues of the subject line. The subject line is the subject line on the Outlook or the activity item in ACT is called regarding, and we put data in that area. The body text is the big empty block in Outlook or the notes section on an iPad, and we put generated text into that section. And we also put a sync marker, so all data above the sync marker is actually incorporated into ACT. Below the sync marker is just read-only data. And read-only data is one-way text, so any modifications you make to read-only data, it does not make it back into ACT. So let's have a look at these. So let's go into Outlook and look at our calendar. We go to View, and on the View we change the view to be a list, and that will give us the list of the items in Outlook. It makes it easier to see if you're watching them all. Let's open this item here. What we have is a call, and the call is to Scott, and then gives us the winery and the phone number and the order. And you'll see the call itself, that is the activity type, what type it is, and this is to Scott with the company. Also down here, this is the sync marker. If we have the sync marker right here, and that's any data above here, all data above this goes into the details. Activity details. So any data above the sync marker goes in the activity details. Below the sync marker, it is essentially data that is generated when we create the activity. This is read-only data, so you can have a look at it and see if anything is relevant to that particular meeting. So enough with the concepts. So let's get down and look at a couple of examples. I'm going to click on the calendar for our Allison Mikola mailbox. And in this calendar, we have it in list mode, so we can actually have easy access to the items. So we click on New Appointment to create a new appointment. So on this appointment, what we're going to do is just the subject, we're going to call it meet regarding OneToSync implementation. We're going to meet in Palo Alto. Let's put the meet details. Meet and discuss, and then have a drink. So now we have the basic meeting. So if we just click save and close, now we have this meeting that we just scheduled to ourselves. So this meeting is with nobody. So let's see how this appears in Act after a sync. So we go into Act, and since the meeting was not scheduled with anybody, by default we schedule with my record. So we logged in as Allison Mikola. Let's just go to my record, and we'll go through the list of the meetings, and here it is. So the meeting is scheduled with Allison Mikola as my record, and basically has all the data here and it's meeting. So by default we go into meeting, and if there's no recipients on the meeting itself, the meeting gets scheduled with the default my record, which in this case is Allison Mikola. We look at the details. Here's details that we put in there, and this is the meeting. Say OK. So let's look in Outlook. And in Outlook now we see that the meeting now has a meeting tag to it. So the meeting, this item that was created in the calendar by default, got matched to a meeting in Act, and then that now is scheduled, appears in Act as a meeting with the subject, with the regarding meet regarding 123 implementation. So that has now been matched to Act. Just one final point. If we double click on the meeting, we will see the details of the meeting listed at the beginning of the body text. But right below that we have something that's called the sync marker. And the sync marker, any data below it is ignored by the 123 sync, and all the data above it is actually goes into the details section. So this area goes to the details. So this will go into the meeting details, and anything below the 123 sync marker gets ignored by 123 sync. So now let's take our meeting, since it's only with my record and we want to invite somebody with it. So we double click on it, and then we click invite attendees. And this, if you take this on a cell phone, it's basically when you schedule the meeting, it tells you to invite somebody to it. Otherwise it will not allow you to save. In this case, Outlook allows you to save without anybody, but here you can do. So we look at this, and then we say, okay, we want to invite somebody. So we choose from one of the contacts, we choose Angeli Ives. So we double click on her, and now she's part of our meeting, of our recipients of the meeting. So we click on send, and now that meeting invitation has been sent. And let's now sync. So let's look at that and see what happened to the meeting. Here's the meeting. And now we can see that Angela Ives is part of the meeting. So we've added the person to that meeting, and now that person has been added to the individuals of this meeting. So if we also look at Outlook, and in Outlook, now we also see, where is Angela? The meeting is, there it is. So what we've seen now is that instead of just having meeting with a colon, now we have all the participants as part of the meeting. So if you double click on it, you'll see the the meeting details, and then we also have all the participants that are on the meeting. So we have the details that we told it to generate, and then we have the meeting itself and everything on the subject line. So now let's create another meeting. So what we're gonna do, we go to home, create a new appointment. In this meeting, we don't want it to be a meeting, we want it to be a dinner. So we go dinner, colon, dinner at 8. So we generate a dinner. So we want to say, okay, the dinner is going to be at 8 p.m. And in this case, we just want to have, we just say bring wine and home. So in this case, we just want to do a dinner with ourselves and just bring wine home, and we just want to be reminded about it. So we click save and close. So what we're doing is we're giving the activity a type. So when it goes into act, it becomes a dinner activity. So let's go into act. We press F5 to get a refresh. And then let's go down to the dinner. We can see here it's of a dinner type, which is a custom type that we have defined as far as activities. So the activity is dinner, with all the details, and of course it's with the my record. So my spelling has not been very good, but we change it here so the appropriate spelling is correct, and we say okay. So now we have a dinner activity that's been scheduled. So now if we look at Outlook, we can see that it's been changed to the right spelling, and dinner is, since with my record you have nothing in there as for on the subject line that we add. So let's now create another appointment. In this case, we're going to do something that is very unique for 123Sync. We're going to add a keyword in there. In our case, the only keyword we currently support is private. So if you go dinner minus private is a private dinner with client, and we'll schedule for tomorrow. So what we do here is we have when we bring in the appointment, if there's a minus private on the subject line, we actually turn the private flag on 123Sync, on act, on the appointment itself. So let's just click save. So let's go into act and see what we get. What we see here is a private dinner. So it's of a type dinner, and if you open it, the private flag is enabled on that dinner. So by using keywords on the subject line, we're allowing 123Sync to set flags in act. In this case, the only one we support is private, but you can create a private event on your phone that will sync back as a private event in act without having to go into act and set it. And this applies to even if you schedule with other people other than the my record. If we look at Outlook, let's go into Outlook, and within Outlook we can actually see the tag has been processed. All you get is dinner, but it's a private tag. So it's a dinner, and now you don't know whether it's private or not within Outlook, but within Act it is a private event, so other users cannot actually see that event if that is something that you want to do.